We're a couple hours into this, D-Man.
Keeping close eye on Twitter. Players, agents, everybody's on Twitter, on their phones, checking their status. So it's a wild time.
High price, too. You want to get into free agency as a team, you better have the money because a lot of big-time contracts are being agreed to at this point in time. Let's take a look at salary cap space available, the projected amount that is available. And, the number one is the Indianapolis Colts, who haven't done anything yet. The Jets have done a couple of things. But you see the Browns down there. Now, the thing to keep in mind is the Browns know they have a couple of big bills coming due in terms of Myles Garrett coming onto his second contract, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb a couple years beyond that. So you have to have an eye on the future as well as on the present.
Yes, Dave, but I think every team can say the same. That bills are going to have to be paid to certain guys they have on the roster, certain elite players. But it's set up well for the Browns. But here's the one thing I would caution fans, certainly in this market. We all want to see, or they want to see their team sign guys. But as you just said, the price tag on some of these players is so exorbitant that it doesn't really make sense to just throw money at certain players. So I kind of like it if I'm a fan of a team whose general manager is not just spending for the sake of spending.
Well, and let's take a look at some of the top free agents that are out there. Le'Veon Bell, he has not agreed to a contract yet. Possibly the Colts, possibly the Jets. 49ers rumored to be interested, Earl Thomas. Now, Trey Flowers, one of those big-time contracts signed. $60+ million goes from the Patriots to the Lions. Nick Foles, $22 million a year and a lot guaranteed up front. Landon Collins signs a big-time contract with the Redskins. Then you get into some of the guys the Browns may be interested in. Anthony Barr, C.J. Mosley, Houston, and you see Sheldon Richardson and Wright. Now, Anthony Barr, 26 years old, 4 Pro Bowls in 5 seasons. The numbers are pretty good, and he's still young.
Yes, he's a guy I would like to see the Browns pursue, as well as C.J. Mosley of the Ravens, but Barr is certainly a candidate. The problem is Quan's contract is so high that guys like Barr and Mosley are just like, all right, come to me because I'm going to have many suitors and you better throw mad money at me.
Here you see Mosley, another one, 26 years old, 5 years in the NFL, 4 Pro Bowls. We've seen what he can do playing for the Ravens against the Browns a couple of times a year as well. Justin Houston, ties to John Dorsey in Kansas City. A little older, 8 seasons, still 4 Pro Bowls. Was released because he had a high price tag. You go into the secondary. Here's a guy that's a little younger in Bradley Roby. The Browns are said to be one of the finalists for him. Texans, Browns, Steelers, 49ers, Raiders, and Broncos, if you believe the reports that are circulating. Again, mid-20s, veteran guy. You put him opposite Denzel Ward, you're in good shape. Wide receivers, we've heard this name going crazy as far as Terrell Williams. They're talking about him potentially getting some major money for a Terrell Williams type of player, though.
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you that there isn't money to be had in the NFL. The kids are going to want to play tackle football again because they see all this money. But, yeah, I mean, Dorsey, there are questions about how he handled the cap in Kansas City. That's no secret. So I kind of like the idea that he's being judicious here and that he isn't being linked to everybody. Now, we heard that he was linked to Mosley, as you said, and also to Roby. Clearly, he's identified defense as where he wants to, where he needs to upgrade, and we know that the Browns' defense needs an upgrade. The question is, and this is where if I were a GM, I would be driving myself crazy because you have the draft, you have trades, and you have free agency. And to try to figure out now the trades are pretty much, they're not all as that important now. But with free agency and the draft, you're trying to figure out, okay, if I throw mad money at this guy, maybe I could have gotten him at 17, in the draft. So you have to weigh one against the other. It's a very difficult job, I would think.
Well, the other thing that came out today is that John Dorsey is planning on renegotiating Olivier Vernon's contract. That was part of the deal when he agreed to be traded. So again, that's pretty sad. That's a pretty savvy move.
Yeah, I was unaware until you just told me that, and good for Vernon and good for Dorsey. But look, the Browns have got, with Vernon, they have the bookends now. They have Garrett and Vernon as their edge rushers. I don't know what's going to happen with Agba. If I'm Agba, I kind of want to see if I can get out of here, maybe. I don't know if I want to be a rotational end, but the Browns don't have to move him. No. So they can keep him for depth and maybe find a home for him in sub packages. But clearly they've got their bookend defensive ends, or their edges. And what is said of the NFL today? You need the guy who can throw it and the guy who can get to the guy who can throw it. And they have both right now.